short period of time, once again, you caught the lesson. We never know how it's going to go.
Right.
Sometimes you get the power of the X and it runs away with you. In this case, I feel like you got it and then you improved it a little bit. But the great thing is that with the repetition, it gets so good.
Oh yeah, it's such a fun tool. Like, I enjoyed it.
Also, hey everybody, this is Don Lanning. Welcome to our Friday. We have a new segment here that we're going to be starting. We're doing an artist profile. And I'm here with artist Eric Grayson.
Hey guys.
Who I just had a great time working with. We just spent 40 hours together. And the old man got to share some stuff with the young man.
Oh, what a blast. I can't thank you enough.
It was great working with you, man. But we're just going to spend a minute, and I'm going to ask Eric a few questions about where he's from and what he's been doing. But more importantly, we're also going to talk about what we did in the class here. I want to start out by saying that, gosh, this character is wild. You know what I'm going to do? Let me just turn it a little bit. And Gabby, if you want to come forward a little bit and just take some beauty shots. You brought some reference, didn't you?
I did.
I'm going to have you run over to the table. Go grab your reference and bring it on back. I love to see how people start these things. Where does this start? Because oftentimes, if we get a drawing or we get some flat art, it's going to change in process. We have many more opportunities that can open up for us in 3 dimensions. And I'm going to turn this for you. Thank you. These crazy horns up here. Horns that are kind of evocative. What were you saying? Big sheep horns?
Big sheep horns. Yeah. Ram horns.
Ram horns, more or less. I should know that, being an Aries. Anyways, but let's see what you got.
Okay, so concept design. 3 days previous to the class, kind of had an idea. I knew I wanted to go orc, reptilian orc.
Right on.
So
in the tradition of Lord of the Rings.
Right, exactly. Yeah. World of Warcraft. I mean, Steve Wang's designs are great too. So
insane. Yeah.
Right. A lot of influence from that kind of stuff.
I love it. I love it. The thing that got me was Treebeard. I remember reading book 2 of the Two Towers.
Right.
And I remember getting out of I remember beating on the walls because in reading the description of Treebeard, which is my thing, I love tree characters, any kind of tree character. I remember they described Treebeard's voice as being like a woodwind instrument. And it just was amazing character. But I think that was the first time in my life where I got up and was like, the description was so great I had to jump out of the bed and like bang on the wall.
Oh
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Wonderful. But and of course the orcs. Those movies really helped to define what our image of orc is. The thing I loved about his design, and I love when you come to the class if you can do a little drawing, even if it's a bad drawing. Once again, yours is very detailed. He kind of draws like he sculpts a little bit. Very detailed, very organized. But once again, to be able to visit the orc or the troll concept, a lot has been said. And what he did, because we had a conversation initially, how do we make this different? How do we make this his? And he already came in with the deal, but it was the scale work that allows it to be different than Lord of the Rings. And so when I look up here and I look at all this show business right here that he's got, I love that. I want to mention, by the way, this is filled with lessons that he took and implemented here. He's still working. When you come take our 40-hour class at the D3 studio, well, we'd like you to have pictures for Friday, and in this case, in an artist spotlight, we'd like to sit down and talk about his sculpting experience, which we're going to do in a minute.
Yeah.
But needless to say, to have a little preparation. And initially at the beginning of the class, we were talking about what's going to make it different. But I'm rambling too much. Let me ask you some questions.
Sure.
This is what I usually think about. When I have something that's very difficult on a sculpture, if I can overcome it, and I think you overcame a lot of different categories of things, that's usually a success. What was difficult? What did you feel brought you a little bit of knowledge?
So step one, I mean, I knew I wanted an orc character, but the size of it, the mass of it, and all the portions, and making sure everything is right to scale, and not making it feel too overly big.
Right.
Right.
Let me give him a little bit of profile here.
No problem.
And one of the things he came on with when he was doing his rough block out was a very thick neck, which turned out to be a great thing. I think in earlier part we had that you were pushing against the drawing.
Right.
But the neck came out of the block out very big. And we had a conversation about that, how we like to overblock and then do a lot of subtraction.
Right.
This type of sculpting being addition and subtraction. Anyway, so he had this giant neck, and it was early in the design, so he didn't quite know how it was going to go.
Right.
And then once the horns got on, once he started to realize these horns, it looked like the neck would be able to crane this head around.
Oh, beautifully,
and the physics.
It flowed completely.
Absolutely, absolutely. By the way, a little note to you guys out there. When the director comes in to look at your sculpture, your creature, I want you to go to your fluorescent light, go to a cool blue light. Your director will like it more. The yellow light is very hard and kind of compromises your sculpture in a strange way. This is an opinion. Some folks out there may disagree with me, but I like that fluorescent soft blue coming on here. But
yeah, it pops really well in the light too. I mean, it makes the larger feature stand out more.
That's right. That's right.
It's great.
Did you have any difficulties in the light? Well, once again, back to the topic. Tell us more about what was maybe difficult, but you were able to overcome.
So mass again. We going back to the neck and making sure the head was proportioned right. We broke it down with subtleties. You gave me some great tips on cheekbones and a new, a new way to do the eye format. So
right.
Yeah, it flowed really well. The jawbone obviously orcish, so we're looking at that giant ape-like feature.
That's
so
right.
It all tied in. I mean, luckily I didn't struggle too much on the format of it. So
no, it all tied together. And there's that term again, tie together. Well, he had different topography, which is so priceless. Here I have scales, and here he has softer forms. When you hear the term tie it together, usually that's your boss telling you to finish the sculpture. Tie this topography to this, make it all kind of gel. So that's when we get the tie it together. I want to tell you I love these horns. As he goes forward, once again, this sculpture is not done. He says when it's done, I don't tell him. We just have to be done for pictures today.
Right.
But he's going to continue to weather this. And how much fun. I just want to talk about horns from my experience. On Hellboy, I got to do a weapon called the bong hammer, which is what we call it, kind of a bizarre title. But this was the middle finger of Samael. And it was the first time that I got a chance to sculpt like a driftwood or a horn feel. And, well, I love the idea that these forms are soft and almost treated with water and 99% alcohol. And here he's not doing any of that. Here he's either going to take baby powder when he gets closer to the end of the sculpt, but even now, you can just take with this wet clay a little bit of oil from your hand, and you can burnish. And because the clay is very dry, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
I'm able to burnish just a little bit and get a little shine on there. But anyways, I love the fact that he took advantage of a rough texture right next to a soft texture. It's wonderful when you can have a different value writing side by side.
Right. And even with the eyes, I mean, you did help me. It was a lot easier when you jumped in there, but the eyes are great to position them correctly and find the exact mass of them coming out, making sure everything's right on point. So, and they feed really well too for being glass eyes.
Yeah, we ran over to the store and got you some glass eyes. And he chose a color that was fantastic for this character. Sometimes, by the way, I'll take a piece of wood. You'll do the same. Take a piece of wood back here, and I'll lean the sculpture forward a little bit just to get a little bit of menace going. So that's a little note for you guys out there. Changes the shadows, makes the shadows a little bit more contrasty when you are doing your detail. So let's jump over to water. I talk a lot in my classes about be happy and welcome cracks and drying clay. It was because he let this go leathery. And upon my advice, if you will, I told him don't care about cracking. The crackings, small cracks and small fissures that open up tell you that it's time to detail, and that this water-based clay has now become like oil-based clay.
Right.
And under your hand or tool will behave just like a nice Chavant medium. Do you feel that?
Yeah, it was actually pretty scary. I mean, letting that go, as soon as you see a crack, you think, oh my God, my sculpture, right?
It's going to fall off the head form.
Right, but I mean, letting it leather really did help with the subtle detailing. It feels a lot more natural too, and you get a lot more control out of it. So
that's right.
I really enjoyed that.
And in teaching these classes, I've seen a few things really dry out where the cracks go right to the head cast, right? And then I get worried about it. The truth is we've all pulled a lot of clay off these head casts. This stuff is tenacious. It's not going anywhere. So if you're out there and you're sculpting at home this weekend, if you see cracks, that's a happy thing. That's not a sad thing or something to be worried about. If the crack goes too long, cut it out and fix it, patch it. But don't worry about it. Know that that's a signal that your clay is drying up. It's time to detail.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I also want to attract your attention to a few other things. The plating up top, it was in the drawing, so he kept it. There were certain little aspects and things. The drawing is there for us to push against. It's not the total Bible unless the client says that it is.
Right.
It is something for us to jump with confidence into the sculpture. And I love it. I love it when I get a bad drawing. If I get a bad drawing, that means that I have some room to play and perhaps bring some of my gifts to a design. But I love that you came in with the drawing. Do you feel that?
Yeah, and it wasn't far off from the drawing either. That was surprising. It came out really good.
It came out very close. Oh, that's what I was driving at. I lost my thread there. But he was open to not happy accidents. There's an abused term. Great term, but abused term. He didn't have to stick too close to the drawing. If something opened up that was working and jamming, if he's having a success here, he wants that to grow as far as details, so he's going to expand out. Wonderful. Well, you've got to capitalize on it.
Right. I mean, for example, the horns weren't a part of the drawing, and they just, again, tied it all in, and we wouldn't have seen the strength of the neck and without the horns, so it all adds up.
Well, it's been a wonderful time. I want to ask you about tools, and we won't spend too long on this.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting ready for the commute home and what have you. I had a great time with you with the rubber tip tool. I'm not going to ask you, we had a great time with that.
That was a blast.
And that's in evidence in his wrinkles. When you see his soft wrinkles, it means that I did a 15-minute tutorial with the rubber tip tool. He took the information and ran. For those of you that have taken the class, you'll know what I'm saying is true. But did you find any new tools other than the rubber tip?
Yeah.
In the class?
The D9.
The D9.
What a great tool.
Okay.
I mean, just the shape of it just helped with everything, including texture. I mean, going into these textures and following the folds, just such a great tool.
We appreciate Kemper.
Right.
The D9 was always there, but I have to tell you now, it's my go-to tool. This one tool, we all go through honeymoon phases with our sculpting tools. I love this tool. And then you find another tool. I love this tool. Great. I have to tell you, this D9 is wonderful because you can hold it like a pencil, or you can flip it over, and you've got a burnishing tool.
Right.
But I'm glad that you got into it and liked it. And,
I mean, along with that, the lemon zester, I had no idea of that tool, but I do love the fact that when you do rake it down, it falls off the back, so you're not having that landing on your detail.
It helps you with debris management. When he says throw it out of the back of the tool, the clay is literally coming out of the back of the lemon zester that you can get at Williams-Sonoma for $16 or $17. Anyways, we're being nice and giving a few folks some plugs, but the lemon zester is fantastic. Did you feel like you had more control?
I did.
Turning corners with the lemon zester?
Especially with like all these wrinkles and getting down in there to make that crease stand out. So it was very helpful.
We love talking about sculpture. We love creatures. We love monsters. I'm going to quit this segment, and we're going to do the most wonderful thing, which is let the sculpture talk for itself. Gabby's going to come forward. Not yet, Gabby, but you're going to come forward and do some beauty shots here and let the audience at home just kind of hang out with this character. I'm very romantic about what goes on in these rooms, and I want to tell you, 40 hours ago, this was a dead box of clay. And look what a difference it is.
It was great,
yeah. Well,
I expected it to be a lot more clay, but we made it work.
Well, I want to digress a little bit. I want to back up. I want you to look in the camera. I want you to say your full name and all of your contact information, including Instagram. Where can people get in touch with you to maybe have you come bring some of the magic?
Okay, so I'm Eric Grayson. You can follow me on Instagram at EricGrayEffects, Instagram, or you can also get me at ericgrayeffects@gmail.com. Awesome. So any of those platforms, or look up my name on Facebook. I believe I'm tagged in the video.
Yeah. Well, once again, we have our next generation of artists coming up, and with great attitude, with will, and push, and fight. I want you to know this fine young man worked very hard. He spent the whole week here like this.
It was a blast, though.
But and we did some late nights too, which is a pleasure. That's a teaching thing for me. When I look over and my students stay at night, I feel like I'm in career of something Wonderful. Look, I put my arm up here like this is mine.
No worries.
Anyways, he's going to take this home now that we're done with our class, and he's going to finish this off in the next couple of weeks. If you don't mind me saying this, I'm hoping you mold this.
Of course. Yeah.
And I'd love him to do a couple of different paint jobs. Let his friends or let people out there in Facebook give him some feedback on the paint jobs, and then hopefully we'll see the finished version, the painted version, the best paint at Monsterpalooza or Son of Monsterpalooza. But I look at this and I want you to know that every inch on this is him. The teacher doesn't have anything left of the tutorials on here, and that's very important. But he's going to do his detail, and I want you out there to support this fine gentleman.
Thank you.
And we appreciate your support for both me and for the classes, but most important for the artist. It's those compliments that are like food, like air for us to breathe. It makes us excited about our next sculpture. Well, needless to say.
Don, thank you. Such a great experience.
Yeah. Gabby, you're going to come forward, and I just want you to take your time and pick up some of these details and have fun. Love it, love it. And the horns too, I got to tell you, the horns feel right. They feel meant to be. Also, another thing that we do with these characters, for me personally, as soon as they're born, come on back, Eric.
Sure.
As soon as they're in the room, I tend to think, how do I feel in the presence of this character? In other words, I take it as a living being because I want to give myself over to it and enjoy it. Like a piece of fine art, going to a museum. You want to let it do its storytelling for you. But man, some areas drive me crazy. Look at the transition here from these beautiful soft wrinkles into another value. And look here, he's used his imagination, and he said that this nest that holds the horn to me feels old. And by him putting warts on here and going instinctually with a design element, I love that value. That works for me. He has not refined these teeth, so I can still pull them out like this and touch his sculpture. But he's gonna get a shape and a length that he loves. Then he'll pop these out and he'll do some great detail. We had a wonderful discussion about doing teeth, and this is for the information for the artists out there. Many, many years ago, I used to sculpt a simple fang like that. I went and saw Jurassic Park. I loved velociraptors. And I was also a fan of Art Sakamoto out there. And Art had a wonderful way of drafting wonderful lines through his teeth. So I got influenced, and I shared that with you.
That was great.
He has not developed this tooth yet. He's still in the process of designing, but you can see a high point that comes across the front of the tooth. That's evocative of a velociraptor, and I love it because it's cool.
Yeah.
Is it proper anatomy? Maybe not. But you can see that just by bringing a leading edge there, it makes it more threatening. And maybe he'll age these teeth, I don't know, put some cavities in them or some striations, we don't know, but we'll see in a couple weeks. It's wonderful. Let me turn it back this way. And everybody out there, I want to tell you, we're going to come back in about 30 minutes, and we have another artist spotlight. We have another head, and I'm very proud to show you.
Oh,
this was a themed class. We had a great adventure here with more than a few folks dealing with orcs. So I want you to come back in. We have something of the same family, the same genus, but a very different take.
Right.
And a bit of a, how do we say it? A little bit of whimsy.
A lot of emotion.
A lot of emotion. But we're going to come back in 30 minutes for that. I want you to come back and join us. Go get your friends and family and come on and see this sculpture. You're really going to like this. Once again, I thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Please,
thank you, guys.
Look him up on Facebook. Follow the link from here. Go follow this young man. And just a pleasure. Just a pleasure.
Yeah.
Sit in a room for 40 hours. And
what an experience. It was fun. Again, it was very inspiring being here. So.
Well, it was your hard work that did it. We try to put toys up to inspire everybody. This is a fun place to sculpt, but it's your hard work that made this happen. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. We'll be back in 30 minutes. Okay. See you soon.